Hey guys, my name is Simio, and welcome to our episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. The first question for today comes from Kyle, and it is, how do you feel about Ubisoft taking away all of the seasonal outfits? It's just another stop on a long road of Ubisoft making everything a cash grab. Yeah, it's pretty disappointing. So if you're not aware of what Kyle is referring to, Ubisoft has made an announcement that at the start of next season, the seasonal uniforms and headgear are going to be timed exclusive, much like the seasonal weapon skins. The only thing I can think of for why Ubisoft is making this change, other than maybe data cap limits, that could be one reason. I realize that's kind of a running joke at this point, but that is an excuse that Ubisoft has used in the past. But I think the real reason, which you basically stated in your question, is that they just want to make more money. If you make this timed exclusive, you're putting a rarity on that item. You're saying, hey, if you don't buy this now, you're not going to be able to purchase it in the future, and that could be enough incentive to get people to fork over a little bit of real world money and not grind it out in game. This is pretty much the way that it works in Fortnite. Epic makes these really enticing skins, they put them on the market for a couple of days, and then after that, they're gone for a while. They may be gone forever. And so by doing this, they're like, hey, you want this skin? You want this really cool new dance? Well, you're going to have to buy it now. And if you wait, it could no longer be available. And that gets a lot of people to make those purchases. And I think Ubisoft has seen that success and they maybe want to bring more of that over into Siege. It's kind of hard to tell. All in all, though, we do have to remember that Ubisoft is a business and they are trying to make money. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. I know that some people that are really into fashion Siege, they want to mix and match the different outfits. This is going to be a bit of a kick to the knee. I know that some people might argue, hey, they're just cosmetic items, who cares? But there are some people that really enjoy that aspect of the game. If a new headpiece comes out that looks incredible and would have looked even better with that past seasonal skin, but you didn't purchase that when it was during that season, you're pretty much out of luck. And while we're already kind of accustomed to this with the seasonal weapon skins, I know a lot of people are going to be disappointed by this news. The next question is, what are your thoughts on the new Villa map that was just revealed? Well, at least visually, it looks incredible. I gotta give it to Ubisoft. These most recent maps, at least visually, have been phenomenal. Tower was one of the best looking maps that is ever introduced. I know that gameplay-wise, it leaves a lot to be desired, but this one seems like they've taken it to the next level. As for the layout of the map, though, it kind of reminds me of a mix between Oregon and Chalet. The Oregon reference should be pretty obvious because there's that giant tower turret on the side of it, but also it's got 3 different levels. In the basement, it seems like there's not going to be a lot of verticality to it. There's not going to be a lot of vertical gameplay. I'm sure there's going to be a couple of hatches here and there, but you'll notice that there is a winery and a basement with a lot of foundation rock. There's no way that we're going to get through that. As we move on up to the first and second floor, though, that's where we notice a lot more wood paneling, and I'm assuming we're going to get a lot more destruction in those areas. One thing I found really interesting about this preview, though, is you'll notice that the downstairs garage isn't closed off like a lot of garages that we encounter in Rainbow Six Siege. If there's an objective down there, and I imagine there will be, considering, at least from the outside, it looks quite large, we're gonna have a different dynamic to get into that lower section of the map. Pretty much all the time, you have to get through a bandit wall, especially on Chalet, for example, which can be really daunting. And while, of course, there's still probably going to be walls around the objective that you're gonna be able to reinforce and put your batteries on, I don't think it's going to be that meta like you see on Chalet and Consulate, for example, where they do everything they can to ensure that you don't get through that garage wall. You're now inside of the building if you get into that location. If I had to take a guess, this is also going to be a perfect spot for roamers. As you guys all know, people love to run outside on defense in Rainbow Six Siege to try to get a sneaky takedown, and this spot seems like prime real estate. Not only because it's wide out and open, if there's any spawn that's nearby, you get a clear field of view of them when they're trying to make their approach towards the objective, but also if you're able to run outside and get to the flanks of the side of the building, that means you can get anyone that's trying to rappel on up as well. And while of course all of this is speculation, I'm sure that Ubisoft has accommodated for this. They're not going to make it the ultimate run out spot in the game. That was my first reaction when I saw this little preview. Other than that, though, we're really just going to have to wait and see how this map plays out. The only way we're really going to know if it's the most competitive map in the game, which Ubisoft is claiming, is to actually play on it. There are some things that I'm liking about it. The fact that there are second floor balconies. One thing that I don't like about a lot of maps in Rainbow Six Siege is that there's no place for you to plant up on offense on the second floor if you want to get into the building. This was one huge issue that I had with Bartlett University. If you need to rappel on in to get into that top floor, that gives a massive advantage to the defensive team. So hopefully that won't be an issue. I also like the fact that it seems like there's a lot of cover on the outside of the building so that hopefully spawn peeking isn't all that prevalent. But once again, the only way that we're going to know if it's any good is to actually play it for extended period of time, and I'm really crossing my fingers that Ubisoft has made something special. The next question comes from Matt, and it is, do you think that Ubisoft is trying to lessen the role of auto secondaries like the SMG-11? Yeah, absolutely. I think Ubisoft is coming to the realization that by making these awesome secondary weapons this powerful, that it makes it difficult to balance, and a lot of these operators become strong because they have this awesome secondary weapon to rely on. There are some exceptions to this, like Echo, but Vigil is really powerful because of his secondary. Of course, Smoke, you got Sledge, Hibana, all of them are top tier operators, and I think due in part because they have this option available to them. If you're not exactly up to date as to what he means by the nerf to the SMG-11, pretty much all the full auto secondaries are going to have a lot more recoil if the technical test changes go through. A significant amount of recoil. And so not only are they going to be a lot more unwieldy, but they're also not going to get the speed increase. With this new season, Ubisoft is introducing a new mechanic where if you switch on over to your secondary weapon, and it has to be the normal pistols, it can't be anything like the SMG-11 or 12, you are going to be able to move faster. And so not only will you have more recoil, but you won't have that advantage. And so I'm going to be really interested to see how these operators are going to be impacted by these changes. Maybe Vigil, Hibana, they're going to see a decrease in their popularity, and others are going to rise because of that. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. I know that one argument is that these operators, it doesn't matter that they're using their secondary, it's exclusive to them. There's very few operators in the game that have access to these secondary weapons. That's what makes them unique. Why are you taking that away? And that's a reasonable argument. It just seems to be the direction that Ubisoft is taking. And so I'm really interested to see how all of that is going to be changing. The next question comes from Mike, and it is, what do you think if Ubisoft added a system like getting 10 kills in a whole game won't cause you losing elo even if you lose the game? Vice versa, you need to get at least 1 kill in a whole game or you won't get an elo if you win. So I realize that the matchmaking and elo system is not perfect in Siege and could use a lot of improvement, and I also understand where you're coming from. If you're someone who is carrying your team, you got 10 plus kills, you're destroying everyone, but you're just not able to get the victory, to lose that game and then lose elo as well is going to be frustrating. I don't know if this is the best way of fixing the system though. Can you imagine how frustrating it would be to win a game but not get any elo for doing so? Yes, you didn't get any kills, but that doesn't mean you didn't do anything in that match to get the victory. I've won games simply because of callouts. People that got taken out early, they were in the cameras the entire time, and they're the reason why I was able to get a clutch moment. There are times when I was able to make a good callout, and we won because of that. So even though that player might not be doing all that well in the kill category, that doesn't mean they're assisting in being just completely useless. You have to remember that this is a team-oriented game. It requires coordination. What it seems like you want is where everyone just runs around trying to get kills because that's all that matters. Really, that would be the only thing that matters in that system. If you're someone who does get a lot of takedowns, your elo is going to skyrocket. You may have terrible communication, you might be the most toxic player ever, but because you're the one that runs outside all the time or does these, crazy aggressive plays just to get as many kills as you possibly can, not only so that you can assure yourself that when you win, you get elo, but also if you get to that 10 kills, you don't lose any rank at all. Like, you're gonna skyrocket all the way up to the very top. Like, that just doesn't seem like a good way of balancing out. I realize that kills are really important in a game like this. Like, at the end of the day, that is how you win matches, but it's not the whole picture. And so while I'm sure that some people could make some arguments that this would be better than the current system that we have, I really don't think that's the case. But of course, that is just my 2 cents. Yeah, guys, that is about it for today's episode of Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought thought about what we discussed in today's video. Are you excited about the new Villa map? Are you a little worried? Let me know down below in the comment section. As always, if you'd like to submit your own question, you can leave a comment or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.